Welcome to the Great Mechanical Pencils YouTube channel. Today, we're looking at the Pentel 11, a missing link in mechanical pencil history. The Pentel 11 is a pivotal yet often overlooked transitional model that bridges the gap between Pentel's earliest innovations and its most successful product line, the P200. Today, we'll explore how the Pentel 11 influenced the P200 and dive into its complete history. Stick around until the end, and we'll look at the Pentel 11's evolution, helping you date your collection. And for you collectors out there, we'll dive into all the available sizes and color options, and key manufacturing changes over its short lifespan. The 11 came in 6 colors: green, black, blue, brown, yellow, and burgundy. This image shows the 11 came in a range of sizes from 0.5 to 1.1 millimeter, and they claim it will hold 12 refills. The late 1960s were considered the golden age of Japanese pencils, a period defined by an almost obsessive pursuit of quality, precision, and technical excellence. The initial version of the Pentel 11 was first released sometime between 1965 and 1967, after the release of the graph pencil, but before the release of the Mechanica in 1968. Here is an image of a very early Pentel of America insert. The Pentel 11 was originally exclusive only to Japan, but Pentel of America released a rebranded overseas version called the CPA Sharp 5. We'll cover this shortly. Based on the pencil shown and the Chicago address, we can date this document to between 1965 and 1967. The early version of the Pentel 11 featured distinct differences when compared to the later models. Here are some of the major ones. The plastic body features Pentel, the word 11, and then the number 11, followed by Made in Japan and a mold mark, all molded into the side of the pencil. Notice that the word Pentel is in all caps. And the pocket clip is flat and has the word Pentel in all capital letters. This version comes with a 2mm fixed tip, but the later versions evolved to a 4mm tip. The initial version features a wide internal mechanism with threads extending nearly to the tip, allowing it to screw in place. In later versions, this design undergoes significant changes. In this early model, over-tightening or internal rusting could cause the barrel and mechanism to bind tightly, making disassembly difficult or even impossible. And with many examples, including mine, found with the barrel and mechanism permanently fused due to these issues. This version had a white eraser with no lid jam clearing rod. And last, the metal eraser cap has the size punched into the end, and there is a small cutout that provides a friction fit. The shape of this cutout changes in the next version, and it goes away entirely in the final version. Like the P200, the Pentel 11 has a plastic body with a metal tip, pocket clip, and eraser cap. Here's a good look at that flat pocket clip and with the Pentel logo in all capital letters. The grip on the 11 reminds me of the graph grip, just a little longer. Here it is compared to a modern P209. Aside from the 11 having a 2mm tip, they're very similar in shape, except for the threads are different. Here is another early 11. This one is a 0.7mm in burgundy. As far as I can tell, all the early versions like this have a 2mm fixed tip, and the flat pocket clip with Pentel in all capital letters. The next version was a mid-series update. There were a few changes from the original, mainly with the pocket clip and the eraser cap. In this version, the pocket clip now has the familiar bend that is still seen in the P200 today. For a collector, this is the easiest way to spot the differences in these two versions. The pocket clip still says Pentel in all capital letters. Like the original version, this one has a plastic body with text that reads Pentel, and the word 11, then the number 11, followed by Made in Japan, and then a mold number. All of this is molded into the side of the pencil. The tips came with a 2mm and then a 4mm fixed lead sleeve in the later models. This version still has the wider internal mechanism that threads into the pencil body. The final difference in this version is with the eraser and the eraser cap. We now have a green eraser. The eraser cap still has the size stamped on the end, but now the cutout has been replaced with a small groove to provide a friction fit. We can tell this version appears to have been released before 1970 based on this document. As you can see, the Pentel 11 now has a bent pocket clip, and lucky for us, the copyright date of 1970 was printed. So we know that this mid-series update had to have occurred before 1970. Before we get to the third and final versions, I wanted to compare the first two again for you. In 1971, Pentel rebranded from Japan Stationery Company to Pentel. This change also included updating their logo, moving away from an all caps to a mixed case logo. So when you see an all caps logo, it's a strong indicator of a pre-1971 product. As you can see here, the major differences are the pocket clips. The two-step tip design was carried over into the P200, but as we will see coming up, this tip was originally inspired by the 350 pencil and then later by the Sharp 5. Here's another look at the white eraser on the initial version. Both versions feature a wide screw-in mechanism, but this design will change in the next version. And a quick comparison of the eraser cap differences between version 1 and 2. This third version could be considered the final version of the Pentel 11 because, as we will see coming up, the next version came with a complete rebranding to a new product number. This version is visually similar to the prior ones. However, this model underwent major internal mechanism updates from using a wider screw-in or a threaded mechanism to a thinner one that can be dropped into place just like a modern P200. The other design elements, such as the tip, eraser cap, and pocket clip, are all similar to the previous version. The only real change here is the internal mechanism. However, as you can see, the pencil on the bottom of this image also has a white plastic band. I'm not sure what that's about. If you have any ideas, please leave a comment. In 1971, Pentel officially rebranded to Pentel Company Limited, and around that time they updated their logo. As part of that change, they redesigned the Sharp 11, incorporating the new logo and adding model numbers to the pencil. The text on the body says Pentel, now with the mixed case version that we still see today. Following that, the size is listed, in this case 0.5 M/M, and then the new model number. It'll have S305, S307, or S309 instead of the familiar Pentel 11. Following this will be Japan, and then the mold number. The pocket clip has the bend like the previous model, however it no longer says Pentel. This is also the same style pocket clip that is still used today on the P200. On the opposite side of the body, the size is printed. Coming up, we will see how this is carried over to the first generation of the P200, so stick around until the end. The eraser cap also now looks like the P200's. There's no size stamp, and there's no slot or groove to help with the friction fit. There is a green eraser with a lid jam clearing rod. And last, the internal mechanism has been updated to the slimmer version. This new design represented a significant evolution and laid the groundwork for the P205 series. Here is my S305 with the size printed on the side. And on the opposite side, molded into the body, is the new logo and the new model number. Here I'm comparing the S305 pocket clip to the later version Pentel 11 and then to the modern P205. As you can see, it's very similar, if not exactly the same. The S305 came with a 4mm fixed tip, which, as we are about to see, was also carried over into the P200 design. As I break down the S305, I wanted to thank you for watching, and if you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe and hit the like button. It really helps the channel. For collectors and enthusiasts, the Pentel 11 and S305 are not just vintage pencils. To some, they are grail pieces, a rare and coveted piece of Japanese stationery history. Their status is largely due to their short production run and their foundational role in the brand's heritage. This pencil came in 3 lead sizes but only 2 colors, black and burgundy. Here are some pictures I was able to find online. I'm trying to credit these the best I can, and the source will be in the description below. Here's a look at how the Pentel 11 came in a box of 12 pencils and how it came individually. When some collectors first discovered the S305, they noticed its similarities to the Pentel Sharp 11, but no evidence linked the two. But at some point, images of boxes like this one emerged, clearly tying them together with the S305 designation right alongside the Sharp 11 name. If you notice, the price on the box was listed at 300 yen. In the late 1960s, the purchasing power of 300 yen was around 1,284 yen today, equivalent to approximately $8.70 USD. The Pentel Sharp 11 started out as a Japan exclusive gem in the late 1960s, but Pentel of America soon spotted its potential and launched a rebranded version for international markets dubbed the CPA Sharp 5. This early variant featured a unique US focused packaging and branding, essentially making it the American cousin to the original Sharp 11. And last, notice the name on the bottom of the box, Japan Stationery Company, so we know this was before 1971, when Pentel rebranded. Let's wrap up the video with a look at how the Pentel 11 inspired the iconic P200 series. There are 11 shallow rings on the P200's grip to ensure a secure, comfortable hold while writing. Beyond their functionality, collectors and Pentel enthusiasts have often highlighted that the 11 grooves are a subtle tribute to the classic Pentel 11. Here is the final version of the Pentel 11, the S305, and we're going to compare it to a first-generation P209. By this time, they both feature a two-step tip design, a clear tribute to the innovative Pentel 350 from the late 1960s. We will take a closer look at that influential model and the evolution of the P200 tip next. They also share very similar working internal mechanisms, and each have the lid size printed on the barrel for easy identification. And these two have nearly identical metal pocket clips, plus metal eraser caps that add a premium touch. The barrel shape and proportions align closely too, with both pencils boasting a balanced, ergonomic feel that's perfect for extended use. Even the materials, from the durable plastic bodies to the sturdy metal accents, echo each other, emphasizing Pentel's focus on quality and longevity. And when you line them up, it's hard to ignore how the P200 series appears to build directly on the Pentel 11's foundation, refining its strengths into a timeless design that's still produced today. To me, this isn't a coincidence. It's evidence of a thoughtful influence, showing how Pentel honors its past while pushing forward. The Pentel 11 didn't just inspire, it shaped the P200 into the icon it became. The P200 style two-step tip started with the Pentel 350 pencil from the 1960s. This can be seen again in the Pentel Sharp 5, which is a later version of the 350 pencil. And as we just saw previously, the early Pentel 11 also has a two-step style tip. Here it is next to the 350. The two-step tip was also used in the later model Pentel 11. And here we have the S305 with the two-step tip. And last, let's look at the first generation P209. While the body and eraser cap saw changes over time, the tip design has largely stayed consistent, even up to today in its current 6th generation. Thank you again for watching, and a special thanks to Jimmy Simpson at Nimrod's blog for his detailed guide to Pentel pencils. And I'm also grateful to the Knocology Mechanical Pencil Forum members for their valuable contributions to this video. Additionally, a big shout out to the mechanical pencil communities on Reddit and Facebook for their support. And until the next video, good luck with your collection.